talk about. We're not even going to go there. How's it going, folks? I am tuning in live directly on YouTube. Things are a little bit differently. Things are a little bit different right now. So with all the content that I've been doing, decided to cut back on StreamYard right now. So if you're watching this show, you already know, see me directly on YouTube. But for everywhere else, I do stream across on X, Twitter, Facebook, but we're directly on YouTube. So we're going to have a little bit of fun, or I guess we're going to have fun. I don't know if we can have fun, folks. And I'm going to get to the comments in just a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say. It was a beatdown, but in reality, it wasn't as bad as it looked, at least for the defensive side of the ball. This was the Bryce Young game. And let me get everything pulled up here in just a second on my end. Sorry for the delay. I thought I had everything pulled up on here. It's a tough time, man. Tough time being a Carolina Panthers fan. Numerous tweets about the number of points scored within the first two games of the Panthers, like most in team history. I don't know where this team is going to go. I don't. They're not in a good position. When you look at the future of the franchise and you think about, is Bryce Young that guy? I just want to see some winning football. That's all I'm asking. And it's probably too much to even ask for a team that can be competitive and win. And I get it from Dave Canales' perspective. He hasn't been here. And I heard the post-game locker room interviews with some of the players. One talking about the boos that were raining down, how it's unfortunate. I agree, man. It is unfortunate. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with a single player in particular and or coach that's been through here. There's been one constant that has been here since all of this started over 6 years ago, and it has to do with ownership right at the top. I joked, I don't know if y'all follow me on X or not. I joked that the graphic came up today that the Carolina Panthers have had 7 coaches over the last 3 years. Is that right? I know you factor in mid-season turnover, because I guess that'd been 6 in the Dave Canales, so that adds up. Whatever it is, I joke that the way the Cleveland Browns used to have the quarterback jersey with all the names and it just kept going down the list, that the Panthers are going to need that for their coaching staff. Heck, they may need it for their quarterbacks pretty soon. At this point, at the rate that Bryce Young is playing, we may need to start stacking it. And I'm going to tell you one thing. When I look across, this is where, one, we're going to talk about Bryce because that's what we do. And I hate that this is where we are, but it is what it is. When you look, though, you start to look around at the organization itself. When you look at the organization top down, talked about the issue of ownership. Talk about the quarterbacks here for a second. And this is not a, man, I wish we would have kept these guys. This is look at what they are doing elsewhere in Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Do I think those guys are Hall of Fame quarterbacks? No. Do I think they're NFL competent level quarterbacks? Yes. And we can't even get that play. But you have both of those quarterbacks, one, Sam Darnold in Minnesota, taking on the 49ers, knocking them off. You have Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay, who we know what he did last year. We're seeing what he's doing this year. And now you kind of wonder, was it really Dave Canales or was Baker Mayfield just settled in, more comfortable in where he was in Tampa? You see Tampa Bay knocking off Detroit. Both of those teams, speaking of the Lions and the 49ers, were in the NFC Championship game last year. 2 quarterbacks that were here in Carolina, gone on other teams, winning games, being competitive. And it's too much for us to ask for a freaking first down. We can't even get a first down with this team, man. It was like, 4 minutes to go in the second quarter? Something ridiculous. Like, pull up the drive chart here. Drive summary. It was, let's see, I lost it. For the Carolina Panthers, they had four 3-and-outs, so no first downs there, and then the Bryce Young interception. So it was late in the game. What was that? I don't know. I think they actually I can't, man. I just can't. But it was terrible. Looking at the drive summary, punt. Again, 4 3-and-outs. So you punt. The interception for Bryce, and then a 5-play drive was the last drive of the half for 23 yards that ended in a punt as well. What really ticks me off, man, and then folks, hey, if you are here, please subscribe. I don't know if anyone is not subscribed or how you would find me because I'm streaming directly on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe you stumble across a video, but I do appreciate if you subscribe, like, follow, all that fun stuff. Again, I'm going to get into the comments in just a minute, kind of going through the opening monologue. Oh my gosh, it's rough, man. I'll tell you this. Defense isn't great. The defense is not good. They declined from last year, but they haven't declined enough. Like, they have been reasonable. I talked about last week. You can go back and look at the breakdowns that I've done. Last week was bad. I think they were put in a terrible situation in a lot of times. But the battle today with field position, the Chargers had it at their 35 average, Panthers at their 28. But you go back and look, I know we gave up the touchdown, and like, what are the odds that Quentin Johnston just has a coming alive game against the Panthers? This guy was stacked up against Mingo, and you thought, oh, the Panthers have a better player in Mingo than the Chargers do in Quentin Johnston because he just didn't look good. Dude comes out, has 2 touchdowns, man. And the one opening play that they got, I think the sequence of events was terrible for Carolina. You go back and look at that sequence, it looked like what would have been a fumble recovery. And this is just the NFL, man. That was 2 steps, but it wasn't a football move to go with it. So it doesn't result in a turnover. That was 2 steps. It was 2 steps, man. Panthers don't get that, so they would have had a turnover, which would have been a really good momentum swing to start after the Chargers have been moving the ball. Very next play, it was, and I tweeted this, it was almost like the Chargers had a turnover because of the positive momentum there, and they take a shot downfield and land on Quentin Johnston. J.C. Horn just couldn't make the play. It sucked. It sucked, that sequence of events. Then later on, though, you have J.C. Horn making up for it, redemption shortly thereafter, intercepting a pass by Justin Herbert. Panthers get the ball in favorable field position on that. Let's see. I don't know if this has it. No, I'm looking at the other. Sorry, the interception. Interception put them in really good, speaking of the Panthers, in really good field position. Sorry, they started on their, on the Chargers' 41-yard line. And Bryce Young, for crying out loud, man, it was 3rd and short, whatever it was. I don't have the play-by-play in front of me, but all you had to do was just maintain the line of scrimmage. Like, maintain it, and you were in field goal range for Eddie Pinheiro. At that point, you'd have a chance to go up 7-3. Not go up, but put points on the board and make it 7-3. Make us feel like, oh, shoot, we can hang with these guys. Instead, you go back and you dance around the inconsistencies, man. Bouncing back, running around, who's know what. You're not in college, dude. This is not college football. Sure, that stuff worked at Alabama because you had great offensive line. And, hey, the offensive line played spectacular. I'll say that again. I don't know what the grades are going to come out. Offensive line did their job. Bryce Young scrambling around, throwing the ball, loses tons of yards, and then we have to punt the ball. It's inexcusable. We are 18 games in. And I don't know. I guess there's a slim group of folks that are under the impression that maybe Bryce should get a chance. I don't know. I just had, I said, tell me a reason why you think Bryce Young should start next week. I mean, in my opinion, Bryce should have been pulled at the half. Dave Canales wants to say that he wants to challenge every position on this team, but the quarterback. And so there's layers to that reasoning. We already heard this week that Dave Canales and Tepper are meeting. The Teppers, I don't know if it's both of them. We know they're meeting. So in my mind, it's got to be something coming down that like, oh, well, we can't bench Bryce. We can't bench our investment. I hired you to take my garbage and turn it into gold to convert this into something. You're going to lose the team. You are going to lose this team. We already saw the frustration today on the sideline. We saw the frustration with Adam Thielen coming off. Deontay Johnson, now they were asked about the shots downfield. That's the other thing. The dang quarterback and Bryce Young can't even throw the ball beyond like 10, 11 yards. If the read's not there, I mean, he's Mr. Checkdown, but in a bad way. The dude cannot throw. And when he is able to throw, he's on his tippy toes or he's jumping up to make a throw. And now he's getting balls batted down. It is a complete disaster. But you talk about Dave Canales and Dave Canales saying, hey, we want to be competitive and we want to challenge every position on this roster. Well, you don't want to challenge the quarterback position. And it feels like kind of like daddy ball. I mean, I don't know how many of y'all played sports. When you had the dad of the team and his son, and he's always going to play him no matter what, no matter how bad he was. It feels like that situation. And I get it. Maybe he has looked great in practice. I mean, but from what we've seen on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think that's saying a lot. Just because he's looked good over in practice, like, we got a long ways to go. But you want to talk about being competitive and challenging the position. You got to figure out a way, man. And it's some people are of the mindset, which it's fine if you want to see this play out. If you want to see how Bryce is going to be, I've seen enough, man. Folks want to talk about a sample size. I tweeted this too. I said, folks, this isn't a sample size. This isn't an appetizer. This isn't at Costco and you got a little sample and you, maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. Let me get another. Oh, let me get another. Let me try. No, we are 18 games in, folks. We've already had appetizers. We've had the sample. We've had the main course. We've had dessert. We're back home. We're drinking coffee. We've seen the dang show already. We've seen it. It's bad. It's bad football, man. And I'm just tired of it. And sure, the guys that are here right now, maybe not directly, like I know they haven't seen it all. And Austin Corbett's like, it's going to take time. Saw him in the post. Like, sure, all these things are going to take time. I understand. I'm not telling you to go out here and make it to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl this year. I am telling you that we're tired of it. We've been around it. We've seen it. And there's one thing that remains there. And that's ownership. But when we talk about Bryce Young, I don't know. I would love to see Andy Dalton. And for the simple fact that I just want to see if this is a Bryce issue. Like, I want to fully understand if this quarterback can run an NFL offense or if we are just that bad across the board. Andy Dalton, another year older than from where he was. I'm not asking him to save the franchise. I know he's not the future of the franchise. I know in a year he's going to be gone, more than likely, as the backup. Like, this is it. I just want to see someone who has played NFL football, who's been a journeyman, that knows how to run an offense, that passed for the most passing yards that we've had since Bryce Young has been here last year against Seattle. I want to see what he can do in this offense. And then, if he goes out there, he can either prove to us that we're just bad. And then that becomes an issue because then we're talking about scheme and really the offense. But I just don't think it would happen. I don't think you can get worse than what Bryce Young is doing right now. And he needs to be benched, man. Like, egos aside, I don't care how much this dude was paid. here's what I said too. Y'all, hey, you know the presidential race is going on, right? And I'm not political on this show, so I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. You vote for who the heck you want to vote for. I'll tell you this, though. You recall how this is what I said. I was like, who in this locker room is going to be the catalyst that sets this thing off that gets Bryce Young benched? And what I mean by that is, let's take a look at the political landscape of when Joe Biden, it's a bunch of yes men in that locker room right now that they don't know what else to say. So I see people tweeting me that's like, oh, well, the locker room's backing Bryce. Like, of course they're going to back him. They're not going to go in after game 2 and start bashing him. Are you kidding me? No. But you know what? It's just like when Joe Biden was running for president, folks. Joe Biden was running for president, and it didn't take a guy with a PhD to understand that he was incompetent and couldn't do it. But you know what folks did? The Democratic Party, and again, I don't care which party you're for, but they sat there behind him and they said, Joe's got it. Joe's got it. Joe's great. Joe's going to be amazing. Joe can run. He's fit. He's fit for president. And sure, what happens? We get this little kind of, fire starting over here, some crackling, some smoke. And someone finally wakes up and says, hold up. Y'all are freaking idiots, basically. This guy is not fit to run for president. And then you see it kind of transpire. And of course, we get into the state that we are today. This is not to get political. This is to talk about how is this going to happen for the Carolina Panthers? Because it needs to happen, man. I don't know who needs to be the leader. Is it Adam Thielen? Is it Deontay Johnson? I don't know who's going to set it off. But somebody's going to get, it's going to have to go over the edge. And I don't know if that means sideline antics. I don't know if it's happened and addressed behind the scenes. And I'd love it to be addressed. We don't need a show. We need to see Andy Dalton. That's the thing. People want to talk about building, and Dave Canales wants to talk about building, and we're finding us. What in the hell are you finding? Because I ain't seen it. I ain't seen a dang thing. You're going to go back and we're going to watch the film. I said, go back and watch the film. I've already watched the first game. It's garbage. And then we're going to go back and watch this game. I said, I hope when you watch it this time that maybe at the end, there's some secret bonus scene that we haven't seen that teaches you how to win the game. Marvel has all the bonus, whatever they do. Maybe there's that at the end. It's like, hey, Dave Canales, this is how you win the game. Hopefully it's a voice that tells him to put in Andy Dalton. It cannot get any worse. And folks, if you have followed this show since I started over a year and a half ago, and since the day that we've talked about Bryce and CJ, and we're beyond of that decision. The Panthers lost. I mean, the Panthers made a bad decision. I was going to say lost the trade. They did lose the trade. They didn't lose the trade to the Bears. And they also look stupid not picking CJ. But hindsight's 2020. And I'm beyond that. I'm not even going to compare. I have supported Bryce Young. I've been pro Bryce as much as you can. I just said it if you watch the episode. And I said, I am as pro Bryce as you can get without being deemed, I don't know, a homer or whatever it is. I know that the fan base has got a group of really big Bryce folks and then a group of not so big Bryce folks, which is fine. And I've been as close to pro Bryce, and I've stayed away from the negative because in my mind, I was like, oh, he's going to figure this out. Dave Canales is a quarterback whisperer. Maybe Dave Canales is not a quarterback whisperer, or maybe Bryce Young is just that bad. Folks, if you are here, I appreciate it. I'm just ranting right now. I promise I'm going to get to the comments at some point. I just have to kind of get some of this off, man. It's a terrible, terrible situation. And one, I've done a lot of talking about Bryce. Let's give our hats off to the Chargers and Harbaugh. That's another decision, straight up, that you have to think about at the front office position right now. And I know, I was not big on Harbaugh. I didn't want Harbaugh to come here. That's just my I didn't think he would work. But he's got something going out there in Los Angeles. I mean, the dude has just won 2 games now. He is 2-0. I think his winning percentage in the regular season now should be over 700. So 70%. It's ridiculous. But hats off to the Chargers. The Chargers did what they had to do. They established the run. they ate us up. Over 200 yards freaking rushing. Sorry, I'm halfway losing my voice. Over 200 yards rushing. Bradley Bozeman doing his thing. Bradley Bozeman and the Bosemans, great for Charlotte. Appreciate everything they did. They deserve it. They deserve to rub this one in the face of Panthers fans. Hayden Hurst, I'll throw him in the mix as well. He didn't have I don't even know if he recorded a catch. I'm checking the stat line here. He did have one catch for 5 yards. So good for him. Hayden Hurst and DJ Chark. DJ Chark is on IR, but you have the Panthers revenge game, and the Panthers did not show up for the revenge. And I don't know, man. And I was thinking about it today, like going to pick up Nolan from like youth, and on the way back, one listening, and I have no idea what the score is to Chicago and Houston right now. But you look at that, like, but either one of those quarterbacks could have been in Carolina. All things, I know technically not, Caleb Williams right now, but you think about the picks, and it's a weird situation right now. I don't know. I don't have anything positive to tell you. We're going to go against the Raiders this week. Raiders coming off a big win over the Ravens and Gardner Minshew. I think whatever happens, like, to my point, or to like the rest of the season, and one thing I did not say, which I was trying to get to, and I distracted myself. There's a lot of talk about building for the future. This is, finding ourselves. Like, that's great. I hope you find yourself, and I hope it's everything you imagined. But this is the NFL, man, and all the cute, whatever talk that you want to call it, it ain't working. It ain't it. And I'm not saying I don't like Dave Canales, and I'm not saying he's on the hot seat or any of that. The NFL, man, is a play-by-play, day-to-day league, not for long. And you've got a group that's assembled right now that isn't good. Hasn't been, at least. And I don't know if that's a hindrance or because of the quarterback, but you have a group of men that have worked and worked and worked to get to this point, to get to this season, that don't know if there's a next season, that don't know if there's a next play, whatever it is. You owe it to them to put Andy Dalton in. Like, you owe it to him. And I don't know, man. I don't know when it's going to happen. But what I was going to say is, thinking about Bryce Young, I mean, Dave Canales says he's the guy. Locker room is backing him. I think it's just going to get uglier. Like, I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better. And if you think that Bryce Young is going to be better, I don't know. And I don't know what your measuring stick is now that would convince you he can do this. Because we're in, like I said, 18 games. You've got, 15 games left this season. 15 games left to go. And I think unless he goes 14 and 2, 14 and 3, 15 and 2. I can't even throw the records changed. If he wins every game, or if he wins 10, 11, and there's just a light switch, he throws for 250 plus, 3 or 4 touchdowns. Like, if we see what we saw against Green Bay consistently for the next 15 weeks, including the bye against 16, then sure, maybe he is the future. And I just don't see it happening, man. I don't see what we have seen to date. I don't think a light switch is going to go off for this kid. It's unfortunate, man. He's a heck of a player, man. Heck of a college player. But how many times have we seen this? We have seen the college quarterbacks that have looked good in college not have success in the NFL, and that's okay. The Panthers decided to make a decision that, hey, this is the guy that we're going to pick to save the franchise. But either way, wherever this thing goes, and I don't see that super upside happy path for this team. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Panthers, oh God, losing my voice. I don't have anything to drink. I think the Panthers have to get another quarterback in here next year, not a plumber. I want someone who can honestly compete with Young. And I don't know, depending on the draft class, I'm not a big fan of the quarterbacks there yet. I don't know if you address it through the draft, like early on, or address it through free agency with a veteran that you can bring in. But there needs to be a real competition. Unless, like I said, there's just Bryce finds the switch, which I don't think he's going to find the switch, folks. It's a long road, man. Oh my gosh. Looking at the stat line now, and then I promise I'm going to get to the comments here in just a second. So the inactives for the Panthers, which I guess I can go in here and share this. Let's try and share it over, and then I'll be on. All right, so looking out your starting lineups here, I mean, there really weren't any surprises. One, we did get to see Tommy Tremble back. Nice to have him back in the lineup, although I don't know that it made too much of a difference. Offensive line was there. I mean, Mingo, I'd like to see Xavier get more touches. I don't know. It's tough, man. The inactives, though, Shaw Smith-Wade, Bartholomew, Mike Boone, Rame, Kingston, and Swinson, the tight end. Those were your inactives for this week. I guess we'll go through it. Adam Thielen, Tommy Tremble, Icky, Lewis Corbett, Hunt, Moton, Mingo, Deontay Johnson, Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard, Thurman on the defense, Tuttle, Robinson, man. Robinson has looked good, and I saw him all around the field. Clowney, Shaq, Josie Jewell, whoo, buddy. When is Trevin Wallace going to get some reps? Because I have not been that impressed with Jewell. Leota getting the nod. J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, Jordan Fuller, Xavier Woods. Not going to look at Los Angeles. I will tell you, man, the offensive line did fantastic. You give up, honestly, one sack to Bosa throughout the whole game, and they're much better with Khalil Mack and Bosa on that team, and I mean across the board, much better team than the Panthers on the defensive front, and like they held up. Chuba Hubbard, I don't understand. Also, there's a lot of things I don't understand, but Hubbard 10 for 64, Sanders 7 for 20, Young 1 for 6. There were some times out there today where I was like, I would rather this team line up in Wildcat and just run the ball 4 times in a row. Run it for 4 plays. Like that probably would have been a better offense than what we saw with Bryce. I mean, it's head scratching to me. Like he must mentally just not be there. I say like it seriously is unfortunate. Like he just isn't there. The misses, I mean, you look at some of the things where he has excelled at during his time in college and even last year. We saw misses last week. We saw misses this week, high throws. The interception was the same exact play as last week, opposite side. Same exact play, same exact throw. He overthrows. He can't hit it, man. It's so bad. It's so bad, folks. Bryce Young, though, hey, guess what? 18 of 26. A lot of those checkdowns coming into play. Again, I don't think he threw a ball over 10 yards in the air, possibly 11 at the max. Longest pass play on paper was 12 yards. So he did not throw it beyond 12. And that's the thing. It could have been a catch by Trimble and a run. Oh, my gosh. 2 sacks, 57.2 passer rating. Chuba Hubbard, your leading receiver in targets. Like I said, Mr. Checkdown with 4. Miles Sanders with 3. 7 of 18 completions went to a running back. Sanders with 2, as in Jatavian Sanders, excuse me. And then Tommy Tremble with 3. Yardage-wise, it was Tommy Tremble, 23 yards. Adam Thielen with 20. Man, I don't know how I'm going to watch this. I am thankful that the Panthers are I'm truly thankful the Panthers aren't on prime time. What time do they play next week? I hope it's early. I know it's West Coast, so I'm going to guess they play at 4:05, tuck it into a slot that doesn't matter, that nobody else is going to want to watch this team. Oh my gosh. Let's see what else we got on here. Nothing on that. Defense looked good at parts. Let's look at the defensive stats here. Well, we'll look at total. I mean, third down efficiency, 56% for the Chargers. We were 1 of 12 on third down. Could not convert a third down. Had a bunch of 3 and outs. Makes sense. 159 net yards to 349. 65 to 46 plays, 5.4 to 3.5 yards per play. Rushing 219 yards, 5 yards per play. And we had 5 yards. But you know what? We got away from it. I don't know, man. I do not know. Penalties. 9 penalties for 90 yards. You can't be as poorly as we were on offense and then also throw in the penalties is bad, folks. Here was your time of possession, or your chart. Like I said, this is the Chargers. They had a touchdown, the interception, punt, 2 touchdowns, and then the end of the half. Second half, we only gave up 6 points, had the field goal, the fumble. That was the thing. We forced the fumble there. Field goal, punt, and that was the end of the game. Panthers not doing anything. Punt, interception, punt. We need those guys that have the punt shirts to come out and cheer for the team. Oh, brown bags. Brown bags were in effect. Great to see those back. You can't help but laugh at this point. There was some guy, and I don't know the account on X, that wanted me to tweet out to wear brown paper bags, and I did tweet it for him. So I don't remember who it was. Time of possession, 36 minutes to 23 minutes. Defensively, Shaq Thompson, 14 combined tackles. Solid day. 8 solo. Josie Jewell, 11 combined. Then Robinson, Horn. Horn had 2 pass deflections. I mean, really good day for him. Josie Jewell had the fumble recovery. Yeah, it wasn't much, folks. And 54 to 204 yards. This is your first half summary. Averaging 5.5 yards per carry in the first half with Chuba Hubbard. Bryce Young was 8 for 10 for 22 yards and 1 sack. 5 yards was his longest completion in the first half with a 1 interception, 39.6 passer rating. I think you could seriously I talked like in game. I think you could seriously line up in Wildcat and be more efficient as an offense. Go ahead and run the triple option. Like, bring back the Georgia Tech wishbone triple option. Just run the ball, keep the other team off the field, get 2 or 3 yards per play, keep the ball moving. God, dude. The thing about this is he is a number one overall quarterback. This is not like a 7th round pick, but hey, no, you got Brock Purdy out there. This is not a later round pick that isn't working. And I said this, and I still believe it. If Bryce Young had been any other draft pick, if he had been a 2nd rounder, if he had been maybe pick 10, 20, 30, anything beyond pick number 1, I do fully believe that he would be yanked by now. And I don't know. I don't know what we're going to have to do to get to that point. It stinks. All right, enough of me rambling because it's getting late. I'm going to go and catch up on all the chat in here. Let me get it pulled up for y'all, folks. All right, starting with Marcos. What's good, man? I'm probably going to be out of sync with these, but doesn't matter. What's up, man? Yeah, speaking of Adam, man, I think Adam's oh, God, dude. He's showing so much frustration. They were Johnson and Thielen. Yeah, and Adam said that he apologized to Bryce. I'm like, why are we apologizing? I'm like, dude, no, it's the NFL, man. Grown men, come on. I did see that. I did see the shot with Bryce and Moten getting into it, man. It's wild. It's brewing, man. Whatever is happening on that sideline, like it's not going to last. I do think he's losing the locker room, which we talked about. I fully believe it. I don't think he's going to be able to, like, the coach and Dave Canales is going to have to make a decision. Like, this team is going to turn their back. And like, if I'm Dave Canales, I don't want to be another head on the chopping block of Tepper, because we know we can think that, I mean, coming into this year, I said for sure Dave Canales is going to make it through the year, but my gosh, if it just gets worse and worse, and I don't know, but maybe Tepper, if this is his guy, and Bryce Young, he's like, oh, whatever, I don't care how bad we look as long as he's out there. It's so bad. 30 years led to this. This is what I can't get over, man. 30 years of Panthers football to see a quarterback that just can't even complete a basic NFL pass. It's so bad. Yeah, and sorry, y'all, for the folks that are tuning in, I'm catching up. I didn't realize my monologue went that long. Sam says the Saints are legit, not making excuses. Oh yeah, Saints are legit, absolutely. And I said that coming out of last week. I retweeted it. I said the Saints are a good football team. Like, people can knock the Panthers last week. Saints demolished the Cowboys today and look like a freaking good team. It's wild. All right, 2 says Bryce sucks. I think I'm in your camp right now with that. I believe I am. Just start Andy Dalton. Simple as that. We need evaluation on rookies. We do, man. I mean, that was the other thing I was thinking about too. Like, Jonathan Brooks, why throw him into this fire? Like, if I'm the team, I know, like, you got that technically at week 4, could potentially start looking to bring him back after that. I don't know. Like, why? DJ Wonham, like, are we even going to see him this year? Sam Franklin, go ahead. Let Sam Franklin go on IR for the remainder of the year. Don't force him back out here. It's a mess. Such a mess. What is A/B testing in business? Yeah, called split testing, bucket testing, compares the performance of 2 versions of content to see which one appeals to more visitors. Yes, you got to have A/B testing. I love the business world example right there. You do. You know, you have a lot of other teams too. And I mean, clearly, North Carolina fan saw Jacoby and Connor Harrell. Mac Brown's been talking about a 2 quarterback system, and we actually saw it this past week because Hills didn't look too good for the first like 2 or 3 quarters. But anyways, I fully agree. Give Andy Dalton the start, or if you want Bryce to start and then throw in Andy. That's the thing. I think Bryce, if you give Bryce the keys too early, he's going to crash the car. That's my problem. Is like, if we want Bryce to be able to go out there and start, and let me do this. Hold on one sec. There we go. That's better. I don't know why I didn't have it like that. Do it that way. Andy should have. I really wish we would have seen Andy come out after the half. It's a freaking mess. Yep. Zach Wilson's a really good example of a player cut. And I think the leash is short for Bryce. I do, man. It seriously is unfortunate. Like, this whole fan base wanted to get behind this guy. I mean, for the most part. I mean, I think even people that wanted CJ Stroud to an extent, people just want to see winning football. But we get to this point, and it is so far off, man. It's so far off. They played him with the checkdowns. He should be throwing passes. Yeah, that was the other thing, man. And Canales talked about this and said that it was by play design for Bryce to throw short on some of these, like, 3rd and long, 4th and long. I'm like, then we got bigger issues, man. I mean, Bryce, it's like 3rd and 8 or 9, 10, whatever it was, and Bryce is throwing it 4 or 5 yards on a crosser to Thielen or whoever. I'm like, oh my God, just take a shot downfield. Please, for the love of football. I don't care if you throw 10 interceptions in the game. Prove to me that you can throw the ball down the field. It's rough. Panthers football isn't fun to watch. It's like watching a frick bucket. Yes, it is. Oh, man. It's It's exactly like that. It's so bad. And you can't do anything. You're just stuck. Like it's like watching your friend getting his butt kicked and you can't do anything and someone's forcing you to watch it and you're just like, "Mm." Bears and Texans. Yeah, I know I'm late on it. Y'all probably already, let's see. Oh yeah, still 13-3. So I'm gonna go hop off here in just a minute and go watch the rest of that. Yeah, 18 game sample size, whatever you want to call it. Hey, get him to Miami. No joke. Pick up the phone. What can you offer? Take him. Get him off our hands. He didn't. That was the thing. Like last year, I don't know the difference. He really, I mean, he wasn't jumping the way that he is. I know he was on his tippy toes last year, but he was not jumping. I mean, the dude's a basketball player back there throwing the football, running around, jump, throw. It's wild. We have had enough. I think he did stand a little bit, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was today. Not at all. 2 tickets to Tampa and Atlanta. Awesome, man. Hopefully those will be good games, but you might sell them. So there you go. Oh yeah, you have to pay me. I mean, that's the thing. I saw a PSL owner tweet that the team was pushing like a reward for being in perfect attendance if you're a PSL owner, and they kind of laughed at it. I mean, that's the thing. It's bad. I know the Bengals likely will travel well. I can't even tell you because I don't feel like looking it up. I think I know Dallas is coming, Kansas City is coming. It's going to look ugly. It's going to look very ugly at Bank of America Stadium. I mean, I feel like the Chargers compared to us are probably about the same as far as the fan bases and travel. And I don't know if Panthers fans travel, but from anyone else outside the league with a team coming into town, like I feel like most will be able to take over the stadium, which is bad. We definitely don't have time. Do not have time to wait around. I did see the ticket prices dropping, man. It's crazy. What could have been first Andrew Luck, now CJ Stroud, the hernia curse, aka Herbert. We're some curse somewhere. It's bad. Saying Minnesota, glad you guys picked up Adam Thielen. He's doing, yeah, man. Adam Thielen had a great year. I loved what he did last year. I don't know. Here's the thing: to the Panthers, if this is who we are, and they are going to ride this thing into the ground with Bryce Young, Adam Thielen, like this is probably like the end of his career. Do you try to get him trade him away so you can get more snaps for Xavier Legette? Do you trade? And I don't think this is I want this to happen, but like give Adam a chance to go to a contender and compete and play. Bryce gets worse. Bryce got worse since last week. He gets worse day by day, second by second. I don't know what has happened here. Oh man. Another one. Hey, Bryce to Miami, right? Herbert is doing all right. We do. There's no time to wait. And I mean, we're going to see it as we get through this. Back to that. Yeah, we don't have a second option. That is unfortunate. I mean, it really is. Andy Dalton gave up so much, man. We have to go down drowning. That's about it. Oh man. It's wild, wild times. Dalton needs to start. Canales already said Bryce is our guy. Yep. Caleb Williams running for his life. Tepper won't let Dave make that switch. No, he won't. Russell Wilson coming to Carolina. It's so funny. I talk on ESPN Wilmington with Randy Slack, and I think we semi-joked, or he semi-joked at some point, that Russell Wilson would come here. I mean, my gosh, what would that look like? No joke. Oh, running around. Nope, fans don't have time for it. Dave Canales and Russell Wilson. Dave Canales and Geno Smith, right? Yeah, that's all you can do. Move on from the trade. Rock Jones says, let Young play all season long. It's the only way Tepper lets Dan draft. That's true, man. That's the other thing. Like when I said, tell me a reason that Bryce Young should start, everyone said so that we get the number one pick. Is that sad? Oh my gosh, it's sad. Chargers save themselves. Not a fan of Harbaugh. No, I wasn't a big fan either. Chargers says Dean Spano sucks as an owner. Texans rolling. They just need to change something now. Yep. Seems like teams know to throw to tight ends on us. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Oh my gosh, here we go. Let's bring in Brady. Bring in Brady out of the booth. Oh man, they really do. Both of those guys deserve. I mean, this whole team, offensive line has been fantastic. Put in Plummer. Let's do it. Joe Namath can compete. Yeah, it is questionable why Leggett is not getting touches. I agree, and Wallace on the defensive side of the ball. Joe Alt was a great pick for the Chargers. Whole team sucks except Thielen. Rather see Wallace play over Shaq. I think for now it'd be Shaq and Wallace. Josie Jewell hasn't shown me enough, but I do like Wallace. Keenan Allen saying Caleb is better than Herbert because of a Heisman Trophy. That's funny. Fun fact, I mean, I don't know how many people follow this and know played against Keenan Allen in high school. Dude was freaking ridiculous. Look him up at Northern Guilford. He was a monster. I knew that, man. I've never seen a player like that. It's like, oh my God, this dude's going to the NFL. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, I'm all for and religion, and I am religious myself, but I agree, man. I said the same thing when Bryce was like, I lean on God or my Lord. That's fine. I get it, and I'm glad that the faith is a big foundation. I said when he went up to the line of scrimmage before whatever the last series or next to the last series, and when he does this little point up, he better be praying that when he does that, he's going to have a starting job here and next week. It's tough, man, because like I said, I'm fine with it, but we want to see some, like, this is football. It's like you don't go into work every day and tell your, whoever you work with, like, oh yeah, like imagine if you went into work tomorrow, wherever you work, and you screwed something up and you said, you know what, this is on God. I trust my Lord and Savior. This is not a knock on religion. This is saying like that is what we're doing. Like, okay, I want to understand why you can't play football. I just want to understand. Oh my gosh. Again, it's just wild. I know, man. Caleb breaks some records. I wouldn't be surprised. 9 penalties. Terrible. Yeah, 4th and 18, and he threw it underneath. Yeah, the baby was there, dude. Like, I was like, oh, we're getting a little bit of the culture back, but I guess not. Man, got to bring out the brown bags. I agree. Bring out Andy. Dalton can hand off. Yeah, he can. We are the stats and the comparison. It's pretty close. Jamarcus Russell. I even threw up a comparison. Oh man, where'd it go? I lost it. I don't know where I put it, but I lost it. A comparison with him and Jimmy Clausen. And honestly, it wasn't that much favorable for Bryce Young. It wasn't. Hold on, let's see. I'm trying to find, and I'm going to catch up on the last comment here. Our last few comments. I had a man. I want to find it because this thing, like, it may be the biggest tweet that I've had unfortunately, like the funny thing is, I mean, if y'all don't follow or go on X, I tweet live game. Never anything bad. I just say whatever I'm feeling. And I took a picture of Bryce from the broadcast. I don't know at what point it was. He was on the sideline. And I said, tell me again, yeah, I was like, tell me why he shouldn't start in week 3. Yeah, this thing blew up. It is, oh buddy, 912,000 views. We're probably gonna get to 1 million. The thing about like when these things take off though, I just feel pressured because I know that they are gonna see it. And like I do, and I don't care. Like I know that there are players and coaches and folks that listen to me. Like I've had players on the practice squad follow the show. I've had players who interact with stuff. I've had coaches follow. And I'll tell you like straight up that I'm never going to like say anything bad specifically about a person. I understand it's their job, but it's someone that wants to give people perspective. It's going to happen. And people may get their feelings hurt sometimes along the way, but it's never intentional and like malicious. But 900,000 views on a tweet. Yeah, that's going to be fun for me. I'm not going to be going back and looking at all those comments. You can see the stress in Canales' face. He has, man. I don't know who's. I've seen a few folks talk about that. It's wild. Tepper won't let Canales pull Bryce. I agree. Ego way too big. No doubt about it. Car's already crashed, just trying to decide if it's a total loss. Yeah, it's a good point talking about on this crash course. Oh, Jamarcus Russell. I know. I don't know if he can do anything. Like we're pretty late on this one with Andy and his career, unfortunately, but he did. Ugh, such a mess. Anyways, folks, I think that's going to do it for today. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. And as always, we will keep pounding. I'll be back with lots more content, film breakdowns. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy some football.